hereby announce and state that adequate notice of this meeting was provided by virtue of a resolution scheduling the time, date, and place of the meeting of the Borough Council of the Borough of Morris Plains for the year 2026. This resolution was adopted by the Borough Council on January 7, 2026, and published in the Morris Newsday and the Daily Record, and by posting of such resolution on the bulletin board in the Borough Hall and website. All of the above actions being in accordance with NJSA 10:4-6, like I said. Roll call, please.
Mayor Carr,
Present.
Mr. Bruhn,
Present.
Mr. Cortese,
Present.
Mr. Houston,
Present.
Mr. Ivey,
Present.
Mr. Pontier,
Present.
Ms. Verga.
Present.
Thank you.
Would you please stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance and prayer, please? I pledge
Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Almighty God, we ask you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that in fulfilling their public trust, every deliberation will result in actions that will promote the common good and general welfare for all the people of Morris Plains. Amen.
Amen.
Notice to members of the governing body and borough staff, any use of electronic devices during this meeting shall be used solely for the purpose of borough business. Okay, anybody, Art, do you have anything for conference?
Nothing for comment.
Friday?
Yes, I do. So, a few council meetings ago, Enrico Fiorinelli, the owner of 4E Fitness, was here to discuss wanting to set up a spring fitness festival. So over the last few weeks, I've been working out some of the details with him, and I just wanted to bring it to the council, make sure everybody was on board with him setting up such a festival. So the scope is going to be about 10 to 12 vendors. He thinks about 100 people will attend. Target date would be Sunday, May 17th, which is the week before Memorial Day Parade. And we're going to take, I have a little diagram here, but the area where the charging station is in front of Merchant Block, next to the freight station, and then one row on the other side of the grass area. Should give them ample space, and minimize the amount of parking spaces that we need to take, and he was plenty happy with that. So I just wanted to see if anybody else has any comments, questions, concerns.
What's the date? Is it the
May
day?
17th, Sunday.
Sunday?
Yes. He's been really flexible to work with. He originally wanted Saturday, I asked him for Sunday, and he was good for it.
It's gonna be morning, afternoon.
Late morning to early afternoon.
What's the time?
Oh, I knew you did this.
I think you shoot for like between 9 and 2.
Yeah.
Are they doing like free yoga classes and that kind of stuff, or what?
I think it's going to be something like that, yeah. More interactive, probably bring the kids and keep their mind for sure.
I love kettlebells and pull-ups.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna skip that one, I'm out of town.
But if everybody's good, I'll direct him to the clerk to make sure all the permits and coordination is done.
Yeah, I think it sounds good, it's a good idea. It involves another business in the community, and hopefully involves some other businesses in the community, and gets people involved. So, can't go wrong.
Yeah, spring fitness festival.
Tyler,
Nothing for conference.
Nancy?
Yes. So it's on the agenda. The Green Team Advisory Board has been researching a relationship to the New Jersey Highlands region. Council, I'm sorry. The region of the New Jersey Highlands is northeastern New Jersey, where about 70% of residents in New Jersey get their drinking water. Because this region is the home of a critical resource, a law was passed in 2004 called the New Jersey Highlands Water Protection and Planning Act to safeguard this area. So we were going to have a full discussion on this at a later date, but we're tabling it until we can have further conversations with our professionals. But just for background, the Highlands Council is the group tasked with developing a plan to safeguard the Highlands. So there's 88 municipalities in the region, and of those, 5 are in what's called a preservation area, which have mandatory compliance with this act that was passed. Morris Plains is one of 36 municipalities in the planning region, which means our compliance is voluntary. So we will, at a later date, we will be discussing the pros and cons of this voluntary collaboration with them. But we, as I said, have to have some additional conversations. And I did present some information to the council on this, so they can be prepared to discuss it at a public meeting in the near future. So thanks for your patience on that.
Mr. Cortese?
I bet it was fine.
Mr. Houston?
No, sir.
Okay, great. We do have approval of minutes, Mr. Bruhn.
Approval of minutes for the regular meeting, minutes for January 15th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Tyler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. Next, we move on to approval of consent calendar. Mr. Bruhn.
Right, so for the reports, both for January 2026, it's the grant writer and the police department. Is that right? Okay. Resolution 2026-33 entitled Municipal Recycling Tonnage Grant Application, Borough of Morris Plains. The resolution 2026-34 entitled Resolution Approving the Issuance of a Soil Disturbance Permit. Resolution 2026-35 entitled Resolution regarding permanent appointment of police officers Emilio Erickson. Resolution 2026-36 entitled Resolution regarding permanent appointment of police officer Jake Zelenich. Resolution, thank you, 2026-37 entitled the Resolution of the Borough of Morris Plains opposing the location of the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement Processing for detention facility and warehouses and other structures within the Borough of Morris Plains, the County of Morris, and the State of New Jersey. I'm received quotes for a 6-foot stainless steel dumper dog insert from the following companies: A&K Equipment Company for $7,623.00, Max Force Sales and Service LLC for $8,392.85. That a purchase order be issued to A&K Equipment Company at 221 Westcott Drive in Rahway, New Jersey, in the amount of $7,623.00. Ellie Falco be appointed as the Clean Communities Coordinator effective Monday, January 26, 2026. The resignation of Donna Carr, Facilities Coordinator, Community Center, be accepted effective February 18, 2026. The Borough Clerk be authorized to advise for the position of substitute cleaning / maintenance position. Sorry, I'll read that. The Borough Clerk be authorized to advertise for the position of substitute cleaning maintenance position. Thank you. The resignation of Shane Kelly, Department of Public Works, be accepted effective February 16th, 2026.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nancy. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn.
Yes.
Mr. Cortese.
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivey.
Yes.
Mr. Pontier.
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
So just that dump that goes in the back of a pickup truck was funded by Clean Communities, and just another effort to get our recycles and all that kind of garbage and debris off the streets.
Nice job, Mike.
Now we have a public hearing on soil disturbance for 111 Mountain Way, Robert Keller Construction. And I give the floor to Mr. Ryden.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a soil disturbance application, as you said, from Keller Construction Company. This is in connection with the construction of a single-family home at 111 Mountain Way. This is a routine, what I call routine soil disturbance application regarding sort of foundation excavations, utility excavations, et cetera, in connection with the construction of the house. The project will involve 461 cubic yards of soil disturbance with an export of 350 cubic yards from the site. I've submitted a report to you and the council members. I recommend that the permit be issued, that the application be approved, and the permit be issued subject to, I believe it's 8 conditions that are outlined in my December 16th, 2025 letter. So.
Was the applicant okay with the conditions?
They haven't said to the contrary.
Okay,
I
good.
haven't heard anything.
It's right here.
Did Joe Norton?
Yeah.
Joe Norton's involved, yes, and he will be involved when there's the review of materials that will be brought into the site. So that's all of the one of the conditions of it.
Are there any questions of Mr. Ryden and the soils permit? Or, soils? Bill?
No, sir.
Mr. Cortese?
I do not.
Put it over.
We'll have a,
You have to open to the public.
I'm sorry, I forgot. My bad. Are there any questions from the public on the soil disturbance for 111 Mountain Way? Building of a single-family residence on that street. Seeing no one, we'll prepare a resolution for the next meeting and issue that permit, so thank you.
Congrats, Bill. That was quick. Thank you, everybody. Wait, you gotta wait for a second part of the meeting. Yeah. Start at 11. Happy birthday.
Tomorrow.
Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Moving on to reports of committees and/or department heads, finance, Ms. Verga.
Okay, I want to start with some good news. Borough School art teacher Kirsten Rigby was recognized as the VFW New Jersey Teacher of the Year at an awards ceremony in Toms River on Saturday, January 24th. This prestigious state award recognizes excellence in citizenship. So thank you, Ms. Rigby, for representing Morris Plains with pride. From the clerk's office, the deadline for pet licenses was January 31st. If you missed the deadline, New Jersey law still requires that your cats and dogs be licensed. There will be a $5 fine for late licenses on top of the license fee of $20. The clerk's office has been working on setting up and will be taking down the special election for a CD11 open U.S. congressional seat. Polls are open till 8 p.m., so if you haven't voted, you have 15 minutes. The clerks are also working on our annual report our annual report of OSHA violations, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. You can find that posted on bulletin boards in every borough building. They also worked on our annual raffle license report for the state, and they're processing Oprah requests. From the website perspective, the webmaster's been really busy working with groups to update the borough calendar with the new meeting dates for 2026. Thank you for your patience. We're waiting as the reorganization meetings take place and those meetings become official. They're being posted by the different departments, so thanks for waiting on those as they go up for the year. She continues to work on the new public notices page, which the state requires us to go live with by mid-March, so we're in testing on that and training for the employees who will be needing to post their notices on a new web page. She's also she helped set up a page for the Centennial Committee, so everything's in one place. So that is now live. You can see all the announcements and events there. She's working with Rec to look at automating the pool badges. So when you come to the pool, some type of a scanning situation instead of a physical card. They're working on looking at different options for that. She's also working with the farmers market and the clerk's office to implement online registration for our farmers market vendors. We're also looking at updating the requirements for our municipal stormwater page on our website. One of the requirements there is that we link to our tree ordinance, which we are not in compliance with currently. It was supposed to be updated for May of 2024. So we'll be discussing how we're going to re-look at that ordinance for adoption. And I have one more thing on website. I discussed that we need to redo the communications survey that I sent out in 2020, just to kind of get the feel for where the residents are on our current website and other ways we communicate. And so I'd be interested in having some input from residents on that. If anybody's interested in being on a communications advisory board to help work on that survey and other communication issues, I'd be interested in hearing from you. So you can submit a volunteer form that is on our website. Finance, the CFO filed our annual financial statement. This is a required, unaudited financial report that New Jersey municipalities must file by March 1st of each year. Its purpose is to provide an early preliminary snapshot of the municipality's financial performance for the prior calendar year, allowing the state to monitor local government solvency before the final audit is completed. This will be posted to the borough website in the next couple of weeks. The finance office is also working on the annual debt statement. They completed the fire code report and the construction code report to the state of their respective fees that were collected for year-end 2025. And I registered myself for some trainings. Never Too Late, Understanding the Annual Financial Statement, and one on capital planning and infrastructure improvements. Those will be in March. The Green Team has its next monthly meeting Monday at 7 p.m. at the Community Center. We're excited to announce that the Borough was approved for a grant by the Board of Public Utilities to receive a local government energy audit for the Borough. So the company coordinating the grant has already reached out to schedule an initial 30-minute call to prepare for the audit. The purpose of this grant, of this audit, is to provide a overview of the borough's facilities and to improve our energy efficiency. The audit will be very detailed to give us the cost of investing in energy efficiency improvements, as well as targeting the best programs for us to apply for grants to fund those improvements. Most likely, any improvements will be over a years-long period. Will be, if we're going to make any, it will be something that we'll have to put in our capital budget each year as we look at our budget. We also looped in the liaison to Public Works, Councilman Bruhn, and the Public Works Superintendent and Assistant Superintendent, who will participate in the audit, since they have the keys to the council, so to speak. And yeah, what I understand about utilities can fit on the head of a pin, so I'm not the person. So the audit process is expected to take about a month to complete, including follow-ups and questions after the process. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Public safety, Mr. Pontier.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. As read prior this evening, Officers Zalanzich and Erickson have their permanent appointments to the Morris Plains Police Department. After completing a 12-week field training, every officer goes on a one-year sort of probationary period, which they have both successfully completed with flying colors. Just wanted to re-congratulate Emilio and Jake. We're proud to have them on board and keep them on board. CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team, had a meeting last week. There was around 12 attendees. To my knowledge, the plan is to try and have that official and ready to roll out by around the Memorial Day weekend parade. It would be great to have an extra 12 people out there helping out with the police department and the DPW, etc. It's still not too late to sign up. It is a rolling sign up, so if yourself or anyone's interested, you can reach out to Lieutenant Bob Gield or potentially Chief Koroski. They can guide you in the right direction. Chief Koroski's handed in his budget for 2026. I'm going to be calling a public safety meeting next week to review everything with Chief. I'll also be meeting with Chief Kevin Rongo from the fire department and Chief Crochet with fire prevention tomorrow to go over their 2026 budgets and requests. Chief has been working with the mayor, myself, and Councilmember Ivey to continue to engage with PS&S, the architectural firm we've hired to help us with some of the designs and schemes for upgrading Borough Hall and the police department. The Conceptual Plans Committee will be meeting this month to officially go over everything, review, and plan a path forward. The Complete and Green Streets Committee met again on January 22nd. We had a great meeting. We have officially finished our draft of the policy along with the checklists and are about to circulate to the committee for more questions and comments. We are just about ready to bring this to the council for same, and I really appreciate everyone's hard work on this so far in the committee. Fire department staying busy with calls, slightly slower start to this year, but picking up. They've had some parts and equipment ordered for the apparatuses, and we're still on track to receive the mini pumper this April. They were out this week clearing and shoveling out all the fire hydrants in the borough. I saw them out there working hard, so just doing an excellent job with that. I know there's still 10 feet of snow stacked up all around, so I don't know where that's going anytime soon. Fire prevention front, again, meeting with Chief Shea tomorrow to go over budget and requests. The new ordinance is in effect with apartment inspections, which I've started. Chris has shared his recent report with me along with a year-end recap of 2025. The 2025 year-end report has a total of 1,185 prevention items addressed. The 2025 state report has been submitted to the Division of Fire Safety and has been approved, no corrections required. In the first month of this year, fire prevention inspected 4 apartment units under the new updated ordinance. And the January report was a total of 137 prevention items so far this year. The traffic committee will be getting together this month as well to go over a few pressing issues, from parking permits to a few projects that are coming up this year. The business development committee, or the BDC, met yesterday. That's Mayor Carr, Councilmember Sal, and myself. We're working on updating the name and the mission statement, in addition to working with downtown Morris Plains, which has sort of a subsidiary of the BDC, which has done a great job of supporting us and been extremely successful with community engagement, support, and events. So that's it for me, Mayor. Chief, yeah.
Good evening. Yes, I'll echo the sentiment of congratulations to Officer Erickson and Zelinsich. How fast the year goes, but they've been phenomenal additions to the department, and we look forward to a long and safe and successful career with the PD. We had our first department ride-along on Tuesday. A young lady joined us for a tour of the borough for 8 hours, riding with Officer Ferris. So again, that application process is open through, again, Lieutenant Guild, can be found on our website, simple background check and a waiver, and off you go, and you can experience the day in the life of a Morris Plains police officer. As Councilmember Pontier mentioned, we did have our CERT meeting on January 28th. Discussed disaster psychology as one of the modules in curriculum that the CERT members have to go through. And the next planned meeting is February 23rd. We're going to do a tabletop exercise based on some of the curriculum. It's going to be at the BFW from about 7 to 8 o'clock in the evening. While I have my OEM coordinator hat on, I'd like to thank DPW, the Minutemen, the fire department, the school district, and our PD staff. We met a couple of days prior to winter storm when that unloaded on us, and the mayor was on the phone. Tyler stopped into the meeting as well, and I think we had a phenomenal response from all the first responder assets to make it quite an eventful storm and cleanup afterwards. So kudos to everybody involved in that. I do have a deer call report, as that's winding down at the end of this month. Total of 9 female deer and 6 male deer have been harvested this year. That will conclude on February 21st. That's it for my report, unless there's any comments, questions, or concerns.
Just a couple piggybacks off your report. Is the smile on that girl's face that was doing the ride along? I happened to meet her out in the parking lot, and she was over the moon. So and she's familiar with this kind of stuff too.
Correct.
This was just a different aspect that she saw, so that was really fun to see. A lot of things that came out of, one of the things that came out of the storm is, and you only realize this kind of stuff when it snows heavy and a lot, is the parking situation on some of these streets in town, and really not being able to get the snow all the way to the curb, obviously, and people parking in the streets. So at that traffic committee meeting, I know it's already on the agenda, but you'll be addressing that.
Yes, we will.
Some of those parking, I'll say complaints or whatever you want to do. So maybe an update to the ordinance will be in place. Also, the emblem that you came up with, the design for the CERT emblem, I think that was awesome. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but I think that's really cool.
We're combining on the Facebook page with the department, and then for those that don't know, we're taking over the old senior citizen van that had only a few thousand miles on it, correct? And needed some minor repairs, so we can get some of our CERT members to our events and shuttle them to community park when we have them at the fireworks or other trainings that are outside of the area. So duly utilized, we'll get that wrapped and the logo on it, so it'll be a good venture. It's been a good start to the program.
And just one other piggyback on finance, we got notification from Moody's that our rating AA1 has remained the same, which has been fantastic for the borough. So I think that's a good thing.
Less interest costs.
Yeah. Public Works, Sal, I know, I wanted to see if you had anything else.
You want to
Public
be-
Works,
you can Public Works.
All right.
Do we switch chairs? You see what happened? You confused everything.
So, thank you. DPW has, as everybody said, did a great job with clearing the snow the best they could with some of the streets that were blocked. They salted this probably as many times as they plowed. Then they went back and I know that some people that live nearby, it's a little disturbing, but they cleared the center of town at midnight to get the parking in the front cleared up, and did the back parking lot. They have a machine that does the leaves, and then they have an attachment that has a snow thrower, so they tried to widen the streets, or they did widen the streets, so the storm wasn't over for them when the storm stopped, so they were really out there quite a bit, so we appreciate all their work, and they also helped with the fire department. They cleared a lot of the fire hydrants as they were out cleaning and widening the streets. So we appreciate all the work, and they did a lot of work over on American Road and 53, the new developments over there, to help get their streets open and wider. Excuse me, so we appreciate all their hard work. They continued working on our vehicles in between all the snow. Picked up the garbage, they finished taking down the Christmas lights, and then they run their sewer line. There was a sewer backup on Johnson Road, and they had to have Denville bring their jet over because our equipment is not working properly at the moment. They ran some generators and cleaned some sewer lines 4 times, so we appreciate all the work that they did in between all the storms. That's all I have there.
Mr. Ryden?
Thank you, Mayor. Update on our projects. The Route 53 sidewalk, as you know, I reported, and Glenbrook Road project have been done, they're all completed, but the paperwork doesn't stop there. And so we've gone through the process with local aid, DOT. They're finally that's all been taken care of, and we expect to see the final payments come to the borough for those grants very shortly. So that's for Route 53 sidewalk in Glenbrook Road. Our new local aid projects we have for Northview Drive, that has been designed and completed, and we have uploaded that to the local aid website for their review and comments, and hopefully quick approval for that. And then lastly, the new project on Grandis Avenue and Sun Valley Way, we're starting the design on that. That's gonna be a couple months in the works. And once that's ready, we'll submit that to local aid for their review. So that's where
What
we're at.
project is that?
Pardon me?
The Grannis and Sun Valley?
Yes.
Is that just a paving situation?
Yes, more or
Okay.
less, the typical mill and pave with catch basin upgrades and crosswalks and restriping, all the usual things.
No cutting of trees, right?
No.
We got you.
I promise.
Okay,
That's all I have.
okay, thank you. Public Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Cortese's turn.
Thank you, Mary. Just keep it a little short. Our clerk's gonna have a long night tonight. Please go on our website and see how much activities are at the community center for adults. It's just so many great things to do and a lot of fun. I'm just gonna mention 2 of them, which is one is the program for body toning on Mondays at 6:30, and just to make everybody feel a little bit warmer, pool registration on March 2nd. So think pool, all right? With Tyler and the mayor, we did meet with for this community development and talked about how we can go forward and come up with a plan. Also, we talked a little bit about a passive park that we're doing in Idlewild pool area, and also get the residents involved. I couldn't attend the meeting, but the mayor went. Maybe he can talk about it later. And we had 2 or 3 meetings with myself, Mike, Ivey, and Morris United. As you know, we're going to be returfing the field at the Salmons Park. It's the most used field in Morris Plains. And we met with Jerry Sitman, myself, Mike, Morris United. We're going to get Morris Plains Soccer involved. They're indirectly involved right now, but they will be fully involved. And the whole thing is to try to make something where everyone will leave the table happy, and of course our residents are first. And then we also explored other areas where we can do a turf field. And when I say turf field, I'm not saying giant stadium. I'm saying a little area where you can, even little kids, 5, 6, 7-year-olds can go play, and it's nice and clean. There's no mud, and we can also rest the fields. So when we do have a game, we're playing on real grass, and that's the whole purpose of the turf area. And so Mike was, I can't tell you how instrumental he was to with his, just so you know, he's an engineer. He has CAD. He came up with the park, came up with a whole bunch of ideas as to how to make the fields a little smaller, tweak here, tweak there. Still work in progress. There's a lot of work to be done. Just letting you guys know that we hopefully will have a new turf field, and doing our best not to be burdened at all with the taxpayers. So it'll be all, most of it, hopefully private funding, and that's the hard part because people do that. They expect a lot. So our job will be to put our residents first, our kids first, and then enjoy for another 20 years the turf field that we have. We'll hopefully have 1 or 2 more. And I will update you guys as we move forward.
Sal, you outlasted that turf field, that? Yeah, you did.
That turf field was done with a $250,000 grant from Morris United. Didn't cost the taxpayer anything. And I tell you that I love when schools, Morristown High if there's no school day, it's off for snow or something, or holiday, it's packed from the morning till night, and just see our kids there, it's a wonderful thing. And that's about it, man. I'm gonna keep it short.
So,
Yeah.
okay. No, I just wanted, you don't know, people don't know how instrumental you are in getting all those turf fields and even Greystone up there and getting that all, and what a passion it is of yours to get these fields and see the kids out there playing and everything else.
The greatest satisfaction for anyone here in the council or resident is to see our parks filled with kids.
Yeah.
That means we have a great community, and we have the best community, second to nobody, east of the Mississippi, like I always say. I'm sorry.
No, just a question about that, because Chief Koroski, sent me something, I think it was last year, a couple months ago, about the lighting. You raised some safety concerns over there about, some of the lighting, maybe it could be a little brighter. So I was wondering are you guys going for a grant to help improve the turf? And I'm wondering if there's a possibility to maybe add some of
The lights are part of the
They are.
grant, and it'll be also
Okay.
hopefully not paid by Marsh Plains.
Okay,
And that's a very sensitive issue also with the lights, because we do have residents on, believe it or not, from Hanover Avenue that at first complained, so when we had the lights in the field, we had to lower the angle so that they didn't, light travels very fast, the fastest, a lot more than sound. And you'd be surprised, you think a light so far away would have an impact, but we did make those adjustments, and with the new technology they have now, they're able to really put the light where it goes, and it's not that light pollution. I don't know if you guys ever heard that term, but it's centered on just the field, so those new lights will be so much better for the players, and also for the community, it'll be less impactful.
so that's gonna be looked at as part of what you guys are.
Correct.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
And then also possibly building one more training facility either in Watnog, or, we're working on it. And of course, everything will be done with, and we're ready, we'll present to the council for questions and answers, and also the areas that are involved, I guess, some residents.
Not to drag it on, but was there a safety show in the soccer field like with lighting or in the parking lot?
Just in general.
There's the parking lot and then that
Because
path
we
that
replaced
leads
those lights not
towards,
too long ago. I'm sorry.
it was the parking lot itself and that path that leads to that,
Yeah.
the lighting, any lighting there would help with that.
Yeah, right, okay, gets a little sketchy.
But the DPW did some tree trimming and, fixed up some of that issue, so.
Okay.
We have the light, we put a light there with the pole, remember? For the, can that light be turned maybe to shine on the
I think
parking
it's
lot?
on the Cobra,
Or add-
so
Okay,
you have to look at it.
I'll go take a look at that.
But I think to your point about brighter lights, LED, maybe something can be looked at as part of what you're doing for specifically the parking lot, right, as well as the field as well, just from a safety perspective.
When they leave, they gotta get in their cars or bicycles.
Absolutely, yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Public health, sanitation, and sewers, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. First, for Clean Communities, I want to thank James Mirandino for his years of holding the Clean Communities coordinator role. Ellie Falco has stepped back into the role, so if you were one of the many groups involved with cleanup, you'll be hearing from her going forward. So far, she's setting up assemblies with the schools to happen in the late spring, so I'll share more details as those are finalized. And reorders are going in for replacement banners, stickers, whatever you want to call it, for the parks. So that way in the spring, all the recycling and trash containers will be clearly and freshly labeled. For a teen center, they held 2 events recently at the Forum Park Roller Rink and at Menon Arena for ice skating, both of which were very well attended. And right now they're planning for the next Valentine's Day themed events coming up the next few weeks. And Board of Health will be meeting on February 11th, so that's next Wednesday. Short and sweet.
Okay, thank you. Just piggyback on yours, and Sal touched on it, we did meet with the architect team for, they're called the Idlewild Park, the former Idlewild Pool, and we will be holding a public hearing sometime at the end of February here. We're closing in on a date, 23rd, 24th, somewhere around that area, but everybody will be notified when that happens. And we'll have some renderings, we gave them some ideas. The renderings are just renderings, right? So we really want the ideas from, the residents up in that neighborhood, the past pool members, because there's been generations of members that are still in town at that pool, and of course, the residents of the borough. So that will be coming out on that. And just the other thing, Mrs. Rigby, you mentioned earlier, she's very involved with the kids here, with doing the Halloween window painting and all that stuff too, so kudos to her, thank you. Ordinances and public utilities, Mr. Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. So on the planning board update, planning board had their reorganization meeting on Monday, January 19th. During that meeting, we re-elected Mr. Mike Garavaglia as the chair and Mr. John Bezel as the vice chair. We reappointed our professionals, Mr. Andrew Brewer as our attorney, Mr. Ryden as our engineer, and Ms. Liz Lehaney as our planner. For the minor site plan committee, we appointed Mr. John Bezel and Ms. Marion Steckert, and one of our newer members, Mr. Ross Malpier. This committee, the minor site plan committee assists in reviewing minor development applications, small scale projects, such as minor site improvements or changes, with the purpose of advising the board on compliance before final approval. For the master plan review committee, we appointed Mr. Mike Garavaglia, Ms. Sue McCluskey, and Mr. Andrew Wolf. This is a committee that evaluates and updates the borough's long-term development strategies, land use goals, and zoning ordinances. It ensures that municipal policies remain current to guide future growth, development, and redevelopment, including recommending revisions to non-residential zones to keep commercial areas vibrant. Let's see. We also heard the rest of application PB1-25, otherwise known as the Rivian Service Center, and voted unanimously to approve the application. The terms of the application and what the planning board has agreed to will be read in a resolution at the next planning board meeting, which is actually on Monday, February 9th at 7:30 p.m. And then I also did review the budget with Mr. Mike Garavaglia, so we're preparing for the budget meeting coming up in March. On the zoning board of adjustment, so they had to actually cancel their January 26th meeting due to Snowmageddon. Their reorganization meeting will now be February 23rd at 7:30 p.m. here. During that meeting, they will, they'll set the dates for the monthly meetings, elect their chair, vice chair, appoint the professionals, and they'll be welcoming back Mr. Shaji Epin and Mr. Bob Webster, each for 4-year terms, and Mr. Bart Cinciata as an alternate for a 2-year term. And I did also review the budget with Mr. Dave Schultz. Their budget remains flat for this year. On ordinances, so I did follow up on an email that Chief Koroski had sent to the DOT about the Fort Sun restriction signs. Not surprising, I have gotten nothing from them, but I will continue hounding them until we get an answer.
As will I.
Yes. Thank you, Chief. Because it's important, I think, Chief, as you pointed out, even though we have an ordinance, if we don't have the signs, it's difficult to enforce those restrictions. So it's important we get those signs up there, especially with some of the things that are coming down the pike here. We want to make sure that you're in a position that your police force can enforce those rules. So we're sticking with it. The public will notice there are 2 ordinances on the agenda tonight. Ordinance 1-2026, which is a bond ordinance, which appropriates funding for the fixing of the roads in Morris Plains. And Ordinance 2-2026, which establishes pay grades and fixing salaries for the police department. And lastly, the Ordinance Committee has been working on finalizing what I'll call the checklist ordinance, which after a year of discussion and edits from the Planning Board, Zoning Board, and Engineer, will finally provide an application process that is simple to follow, reduces paperwork, and saves the applicant and the borough money by removing unnecessary meetings. This has been a long time coming and is a very welcome update. So I'm very much looking forward to, at the next meeting, introducing that ordinance, and then hoping to get it passed in March's meeting, and then the Planning Board and the Zoning Board can start with that new process. And that is my update.
Moving on to public invitation for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak? Yeah, Kelly, yeah.
Cecere, 11 Dayton Road. Got you some goodies. I have trouble keeping my train of thought sometimes, so I have a whole bunch of notes. But is it all right if I pass these out? This is a copy of my email from January 5th to you and the reply I got, because I don't think we're all,
And then just give a copy to the clerk too.
I'm not sure how many members got it, so. Gotta make an extra. Okay. There we go. I just want to be clear from the start that I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm not trying to be a pain in the butt. I've been raising these concerns about the debris pile at the former friendly site because they're legitimate concerns. They're health and safety issues possibly, and I'm not the only resident that wants the answers. Many of them reached out to me knowing that I had emailed you, asking whether I've received answers because they share those concerns. These questions deserve full, clear, and timely responses, but unfortunately that's not happening. At the December 30th meeting, I raised several questions regarding the large pile of crushed debris and the potential risks it possesses to the public. At that time, those questions could not be answered. I informed Mayor Carr that I would email him the questions so that he could obtain the necessary information to answer them. I sent that email on January 5th, 6 days later, and the only response I received from you was an acknowledgement that you had received the email and that you would get the answers in a timely manner. But then no answers followed. So I raised the issue again at the January 15th meeting. At that point, it was deferred to Mr. Horan, and Mr. Horan stated that he had met with several people from the construction department and that he had had answers, but that he did not want to provide them then until he confirmed the information with the experts, and he stated that I'd have the answers in a day or two. 13 days later, on January 28th, which was actually 29 days after I initially had asked those questions at the December 30th meeting, I finally received an email from Mr. Horan containing some answers, many of which were very vague and only addressing some of my questions. The email also contained information that I know to be incorrect. Specifically, the email stated that it has been only roughly 1 month since very little or no activity occurred on the site. That's not accurate. It has now been nearly 3 months, as of today, since demolition and the crushing of the debris was completed. All the vehicles and equipment left that site before the end of the second week in November. What remains, and what my concerns have focused on this entire time, is the large pile of debris. If there is documentation supporting the timeline stated in the email, I would love to see it because I have extensive photos and video documentation supporting my timeline. The debris pile is described multiple times as recycled crushed concrete and brick material, and it's stated that the borough knows of no authority that would allow them to force removal of this material within a certain time frame, as long as an active construction permit is in effect. I want to state clearly for the record, there are no active construction permits in effect at this time. Contradicting what was stated a few sentences later, in that email it states that the borough believes construction permits would be secured in the near future. This directly confirms what I have just stated. There are no active construction permits, which makes the claim that the borough lacks the authority to require removal incorrect. The email also stated that the borough is not aware of any industrial history of the site, which I'm not quite sure, I don't understand the relevance of that comment, and that it has not received any NJDEP documentation suggesting the presence of hazardous materials. My question was, and still is, does the borough have receipt of any NJDEP or other authoritative documentation stating that that material is free of hazardous materials. That has been my primary question from the beginning. If documentation exists confirming that this pile, which has been sitting uncovered for months, blowing through my neighborhood, adjacent to food establishments, public sidewalks, schools, etc., if you have documentation that it is clean and non-hazardous, that would address or significantly reduce many of the concerns that I have been repeatedly asking. Without documentation, classifying this material as clean fill or approved under a beneficial use determination, then this debris is classified as solid waste under NJAC 7:26, and it should not remain on the site indefinitely. Additionally, I personally witnessed and have video documentation that structure demolition, the structures were demolished and were taken down with the roofs intact. Under NJAC 7:26-1.6A6, soil and fill that contains or is mixed with such debris such as roofing material, lumber, insulation, wallboards, metals, plastics, and other construction debris is considered solid waste. Material meeting this definition cannot be repurposed, recycled, or redeposited in any fashion and must be transported to a solid waste facility. Compounding my concerns is the fact that the asbestos report for 415 Speedwell Avenue was incomplete. Of the 23 samples reportedly taken, 3 were not submitted to the laboratory for analysis. I brought this to the town's attention in September after obtaining the report through an OPA request. Unfortunately, I was not aware of the deficiency until after the structures had already been demolished, releasing dust and debris throughout the surrounding area, including my property. At the time of the demolition of 415 Speedwell, no visible dust suppression or remediation measures were being used. I have video documentation showing the structure as it was demolished, dry, without wetting, and that the water truck was on site but not being used. To date, I have never received any response to my September 11th email addressing the incomplete laboratory report or other concerns raised at that time. As a result, this raises serious questions about whether roofing and other regulated materials may now be present in that pile. An open demolition permit is not the same as an active construction permit. The demolition authorized by that permit has been completed. The permit holder's failure to request a final inspection doesn't convert an inactive site into an active construction site, nor does it authorize indefinite debris storage, especially without any dust remediation taking place. My point is, debris storage is not covered under a demolition permit. Leaving the permit open administratively to delay removal of the debris is considered lack of enforcement on the town's end, in my opinion. It is not an active construction site and does not have an open active construction permit and should not be authorized for any construction staging or storage for a possible future construction project. The continued lack of clear, complete, and documented answers to the questions that have been repeatedly asked is deeply concerning. At this point, it's just giving the appearance that the interest of the commercial property owner are being prioritized over the health, safety, and quality of life of the nearby residents and within the community of Caring. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
So Joe, what I can do for you is, I will set up a Zoom meeting with our professionals so you can ask these questions directly to those professionals at that time.
I've asked them
Mr. Horan,
repeatedly,
Mr.
we
Horan,
have meetings, and you have a copy of the response I got. I really have wasted a lot of time that I don't think should have ever had to been wasted. I'm not gonna sit down for another meeting, or any meeting. I just wanted answers. I'm not trying to be difficult.
No, I get it.
I just want to know that this is safe. It's sitting there, and I truly don't believe that they have the right to have that sitting there when demolition is done. The structures are down.
Jill, if I could just, real quick. I understand your concerns here. What I want you to try to at least understand is what I attempted to do was, in connection with that response, that you're not, are you fine?
Use the mic, please. Yeah, I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
Joe, what I'd like for you to understand is what I tried to do in connection with that response that you were addressing here this evening was, I was trying to put together something that I thought would at least capture some answers for what you were looking for. Now, personally, I don't know the substance of those responses.
And
That's not my area.
I know, I understand.
All I
that.
was, no, hear me out. All I was trying to do is be, I guess, the ringleader of the response and bring everybody together. So when I told you at that January 15th meeting, you have a response in 2 days, I did send it out, and unbeknownst to me, I had to make some corrections because I was actually wrong in some of what I had written. Because again, the substance is not my cup of tea. Once I made those changes, the professionals, and just so we're clear, the professionals being Mr. Ryden, Joe Norton, our soil expert, I guess, so to speak, for lack of a better word, and Bill O'Connor, our construction official, came back and says, no, these are pretty spot on. Now, whether from a soil perspective and an engineering perspective they're spot on, I'm just going to rely upon that. However, I also hear you tonight are not satisfied with those answers, which I can appreciate. So, as the mayor said, and I don't have a problem doing this, I'll set up a Zoom call with the same guys I relied on to give you those responses, and you can ask, for example, that question. Do we know that this debris is safe? And how do we know that? What's the documentation that supports that? I, for one, and I know as council would, love to give you that information. I assume it's out there, and you should have it. And all I can do is try to facilitate that for you.
I would be thrilled if someone could just say, listen, here's a report, or it's been tested, or this, we have authority to do this. That's all I want, and with the lack of that
And all I want, Jill,
answer.
is the opportunity to put this Zoom meeting together for you so that I can somewhat participate in it pretty strongly and see if we can't alleviate these concerns, and I can't help facilitate that. I think I can, I really do, but I think rather than me trying to take, a couple of ingredients and make a salad that I don't really particularly understand myself, I think it'd be helpful for us all to sit down on a Zoom call. My office will set it up for you. You can ask these questions. I will steer the professionals and keep it structured. And I'm hoping at the end of this conversation, your concerns are alleviated, and we can provide you with whatever documentation we have to satisfy your concerns. For example, that this is safe debris, and that these roofing issues and things like that. I think you're entitled to that.
I know I'm entitled to that, and that's what I've been asking since September. I'll think about it.
Okay,
I
but let me know.
appreciate
You
you offering.
have my email, because clearly I emailed you the response. And my number and my contact information is on. I'm happy to, if you're willing to meet, I'll set it up.
Okay, let me sleep on it.
John, I have a question for you. I know, if I understand it correctly, right, there's nothing the borough can legally do to force the owner to remove the debris from that site.
I believe there is.
That's a hard question to answer. I think there are limited situations that they can.
Can you just speak a little closer?
I think there are limited situations in which they can, okay? However, I think the concern here was the fact that the site is deemed inactive in the sense that we don't see anything happening.
Well, there's nothing left to have.
What I come to learn from my meeting with the professionals was, while I would tend as a non-expert in this soil issue, also think it's inactive because I don't see vehicles coming in and out, I don't see ingress or egress, or things that I would deem to be an active site. I come to learn that from the engineering perspective, it's an active site so long as it hasn't been inactive for a period of time, which I believe is 6 months. Now, I know there's some disagreement here tonight factually, that whether it's been, now, I believe it was Mr. Norton who told me it's been inactive for a month. Jill seems to think it's at least 3 months based upon her evidence and her documents. Jill may be right, it may be 3, but my understanding, Bill, if I'm wrong, is that unless it's I don't say abandoned, but inactive for a period of 6 months, it's actually an active site.
Okay,
And that's all I know, but
But the
it's,
mound there doesn't make it active. Like, that shouldn't be there.
right, but Mr. Norton advised me that they have a permit, and that permit runs with the property owner, and that permit's good for 2 years. And the property owner gets to determine what's done with that permit. And we can't force them if they want to sit on it for 2 years. Whether I agree with that or not is a different question, but that's how I understand the process.
Right, so-
And again, now I'm trying to answer questions as
No, and
substantively.
I
A lawyer
understand,
doesn't
you
do
are
it,
not,
right? So I'm
that's
creating
not
a
your
word salad.
Jill, you have to
Which
come
is
up
why I
here
think-
so that the mic can pick.
I understand, it's not your expertise and you're just the messenger.
Right, I'm just trying to be a conduit for what
But I do have a copy of the demolition requirements. You know, and a list of things that, you know, and certain things, you know, they did down the line, proof of insurance, I guess, and notice of disconnection of utilities, the asbestos abatement inspection, which is questionable. Then it goes down the line, it says, remove debris. Call for an inspection. Grade and seed the site if there are no building permits issued for new construction. None of these things, all those things, you know, at the end of the list that happen after the structures come down, none of them are taking place. And it's my belief that they're not taking place because they want to just sit on it until if and when they get approval for the McDonald's from DOT and all the other required things that they might have. That doesn't justify leaving a giant mound of questionable crushed debris, which would now, they're trying to consider it as construction material when there is no construction permits. They have an open demolition permit. The demolition is done, but everything's gone
Can you
except.
email me that document you're referring to?
Well,
It's a permit.
this was
Oh,
just a
it's
list
in-house.
that the town,
Okay.
and this was like a photo that I had taken when I went for the Oprah.
I think there's some disconnect on the, what the meaning of a word debris or all that kind of stuff is also, right? For a lay person as far, and for a construction person. You know, debris to you may mean one thing.
Okay. That
debris to-
pile is not anything that they need for demolition. It's actually the result of the demolition. It should be gone. According to this especially, and everything else I've read
But
online,
there's also a timeline for that sort of thing. But we will get
Show me-
professionals, we're gonna get the
and show
professionals.
me that, that's what I requested in my email. Show me the documentation, the ordinance, the rules, the laws. Show me that and I'll be
Let's get-
quiet.
Let's get the professionals.
But none of that has happened, and I have been considered a very patient person, but I'm really starting to lose patience. Personally, because yes, my husband and I are directly affected more than anybody else in this town. But wind travels, and that stuff blows when it's not frozen now, it blows. And if there's hazards in there, it's not only affecting me, it's affecting everybody in this town. And we have the right to know. And I also want the right to know, if you can prove to me, I'll shut up, if they are legally allowed to have that sitting there.
We will get the professionals in a room, you let us know if you want us to facilitate that, and you can
I-
be in that
I
room.
thought that already happened with,
Well, It
or
did
wait.
happen with him, and you're still not satisfied, we're willing to take another step to get you and everybody else satisfied.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
And the reason John, I was asking you about the legal ramifications is because I wanted to clarify that, you know, if the borough can't legally do anything for a period of 6 months, there are certainly, I'm sure, things we can do in terms of going to the property owner and just asking them, right? We've done that in the past, right? We said, hey, listen, there's residents in this neighborhood that are concerned about this pile of debris. However you define it, right? It's a concern they have. To be a good neighbor, right? Wouldn't it make sense to
I'm not gonna speak for the construction official,
I
but that's been
understand.
done,
Well,
so you have to check with him.
but my question is, can we set up a meeting, you, me, Mr. O'Connor, Bill O'Connor, and Ms. Cecere, she'd like to be involved in that, and let's call the property owner and just ask them, hey, can we remove the debris? Right, try to be neighborly with them and ask them if they would do it.
Well, I don't think that satisfies Mrs. Cecere's question.
If I understand correctly, that's ultimately, that's what you want, Mrs. Cecere, right, is you want the debris removed?
I love the debris removed, or show me the legality of them allowing, that they're allowed to keep it there and that it is safe.
Those are the questions that we have to ask professionals and sit down and talk.
I've been asking this.
Well, if you let me know, we'll facilitate that meeting with the professionals on the Zoom call.
Okay, now I'll waste a little bit more of my time.
Let
Thank
me
you.
know. Or John.
I'll discuss it with my husband.
Joann Dugan, 31 Canfield. You brought up having a Zoom meeting with the construction officials or whoever's involved in answering these questions. Could we do that in a public forum where other people that have questions from the neighborhood? Could we have them at the next planning board meeting or council meeting where it can be in a public forum where people can ask questions and have, you know, a more open, transparent?
I don't know if they would be in a public forum, but it certainly would be.
Why?
Well, these are public questions.
Yeah, these are
That's a legal question, so I don't know.
Mr. Horan, any comment on that?
You certainly can have a public comment on this.
No, we want the people here that can answer the questions, because all we get is, ask this
I
person,
don't
ask
know.
that person.
So I can tell you that I'd be happy to be on that call, okay? I'd have to.
No, I don't want to call, I want them in this room
Well, you
with all
can't,
these
you can't at night
people.
because they work till 4:30. So they'd have to volunteer to come in.
Okay, maybe we could ask them if they would volunteer to come in.
Okay, I wouldn't be the person to do that, but I
Well,
would.
who is? There's nobody, it's always, ask this person, you ask that person. You guys work for us. You know, you need to, you're the ones who are supposed to answer our questions. We're not supposed to have to go around asking all these other people these questions. That's for you guys to do.
Okay, so
To get the answers to our questions.
Joanne, what I will do is I will contact the professionals tomorrow, okay? If you give me your contact information, I'll copy you on any communications I send out. And I'm gonna try to facilitate that public meeting for the residents that are concerned about these questions to come. And I'm happy to come to it whenever that may be, and we'll go from there.
Okay. But I think all these people would have questions that they'd like to ask also.
And that might be helpful, but I have to reach out and see where it goes.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know, it's not really answer the question, but like, maybe we test that dirt or whatever pile, it might be a start, right, the test is good or
I
clean.
think again, but I don't wanna start acting like what I'm saying is.
Yeah, I'm just curious,
100%
if we
accurate,
just like Bill said, we asked for.
Just speak into the microphone, please.
What I did was I created a right, that I thought was responsive to an email.
Yeah.
And I relied upon the substantive answers of 3 experts. That's what I did.
No,
I
yeah.
then sent it out,
Right.
and it was okayed by those 3 experts, and then I sent it out. Whether it's, I certainly, and I'm not tonight going to elaborate on that substance, because this isn't, trial tactics. This is soil questions. So I'm not the person to answer that. What I'm hearing tonight, however, is that there are some concerns from the public that may be alleviated by having a meeting face-to-face here with those professionals. And I'm one of those professionals, and I am putting on the public record tonight, I am certainly happy to do that. But there are 3 other individuals that I have to contact, and then I have to now try and put that together. And I will do that for the hopefully the benefit of our residents.
In that meeting, maybe we can ask, like Bill said, can we at least test the soil? Could we make the, I'm not saying you should go test the soil, but.
Well, first I'll ask if it was done
In
already.
part of that meeting.
And then if not, it may have already been done. And I think, if I recall, it was.
So
But
if
again,
we get that answer, because we're gonna
Then
move
we
a
should
pile
have a
of
report.
contaminated soil that's gonna raise it up.
and there may be
Clean
a report on that, and if there is, I'll see what I can do, okay?
Well, I asked in my email if there was any documentation, so they should have handed that to you if there was.
Right.
Then the answers, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here frustrated and upset. But that question was danced around and nothing was answered.
And Anybody else? Seeing no one, we'll move on to introductions of ordinances. Mr. Houston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, Councilmember Houston, introduce the following ordinance and read the same by title and move that it be passed on the first reading. Ordinance number 1-2026, bond ordinance providing for the improvement of various roads in and by the Borough of Morris Plains in the County of Morris, New Jersey, appropriating $670,750, therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $636,000 bonds or notes of the borough for financing such appropriation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cortese. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn,
Yes.
Mr. Cortese,
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivey.
Yes.
Mr. Pontier.
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
I, Councilmember Houston, offer the following resolution. Whereas the above ordinance was introduced and read by title at this meeting on February 5th, 2026, and passed in the first reading. Now therefore be it resolved that at a meeting to be held on February 19th, 2026 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time at the municipal building in said borough, this council will further consider for second reading and final passage of said ordinance. And be it further resolved that the clerk of this borough is hereby directed to publish and mail the proper notice, including the ordinance, post the ordinance on the bulletin board of the municipal building, and to make copies available to the members of the general public.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ivey. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I, Councilmember Houston, introduce the following ordinance and read the same by title and move that it be passed on first reading. Ordinance number 2-2026, an ordinance establishing pay grades and fixing salaries and benefits for the police department of the Borough of Morris Plains.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pontier. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn.
Yes.
Mr. Cortese.
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivey.
Yes.
Mr. Pontier.
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
I, Councilmember Houston, offer the following resolution. Whereas the above ordinance was introduced and read by title at this meeting on February 5th, 2026, and passed in the first reading. Now therefore be it resolved that at a meeting to be held on February 19th, 2026, at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time at the municipal building in the said borough, this council will further consider for second reading and final passage of said ordinance. And be it further resolved that the clerk of this borough is hereby directed to publish and mail the proper notice, including the ordinance, post the ordinance on the bulletin board of the municipal building, and to make copies available to members of the general public.
And is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruhn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The ayes have it. We have no ordinances on second reading, no resolutions, no unfinished business, no new business. We do have vouchers. Ms. Verga.
I move that the checklist dated February 5th, 2026, in the amount of $2,579,164.78 be approved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ivey. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bruhn.
Yes.
Mr. Cortese.
Yes.
Mr. Houston.
Yes.
Mr. Ivey.
Yes.
Mr. Pontier.
Yes.
Ms. Verga.
Yes.
I'm sorry, can you strike mine as abstain?
Sure.
Okay. There is no need, I don't think, for an executive session unless anybody has something.
It's just if anyone's curious about the resolution that we passed on the warehouse detention center, I'll put mine outside for you if you want to read it. I know you're talking.
Yeah, no. And just final thing, the Centennial Cocktail Party's coming up. There's invitations here for everybody. If you need a copy, please feel free to take one, and hope to see you all there. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second by Sal.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. Everybody have a warm weekend. Thank you.